Welcome back to the SSLFamilyDad channel. We're out here again with our maple syrup operation, our amateur maple syrup setup, and we're getting to the next stage here. So we've got all of our sap collection stuff out for this year, and we've had some good warm days, and they're all full. So we need to start boiling. It's time to build an evaporator, and every year I've built little temporary ones. This year I'm going to try to reuse what I had last year, but with a better pan. We got a new pan to use this year. So let's find out what the situation is with the evaporator we built last year, the cinder block evaporator, and see if we can use it again. Okay, well, I already see some minor problems here. Looks like we lost our chimney. The chimney on the back of it probably blew over. We had a pretty big windstorm come through the other day. So looks like there's half my chimney down the hill. The two blocks down there and these ones up here. But everything looks to be in good enough shape. This one's cracked a little. This is an important one, but I think I can still use it. We'll see how well it works. So this is basically the setup that we had last year. This was the front of the firebox, and I think I had a piece of cement board out here to block the front, and it actually drew air down here and then up and burned underneath, and then up the cinder block chimney in the back. This is an extremely efficient way to boil and very cheap. I'll put a link in the description of the video to these steaming pans. These are from Amazon, and then you can just go to your home lumber store, home store, whatever, Home Depot, Lowe's, and get cinder blocks for like $1 a piece. And so this whole thing, maybe cost me $60 to build with the pans and everything, and so it's super cheap. And I didn't use any mortar or any cement to put this together. This is all just stacked brick. It doesn't have to be perfect. All it's got to do is just start a fire underneath it and boil stuff. This year I want to upgrade a little bit, see if we can get a little better pan. The problem with this 2-pan setup is that once you get low in your pans, you have to try to transfer from one to the other. I usually added to one, and then I used a little scoop to scoop hot sap from one pan to the next. And so you could just kind of keep doing that, which you had to be out here to do. It's kind of annoying. So this isn't ideal, but it certainly will work. And all I did was I just knocked out the front half of this cinder block and the inside divider, set it in here so that the smoke could go through inside this one and then just up through the center of the blocks. And those ones down there, and that one too. I've been working with my new favorite homesteading website, Vivore.com. They have the coolest stuff on there. Anything you think of. I mean, they've got winches, they've got maple syrup stuff, they've got all kinds of kitchen stuff and oil presses and fire stuff, everything on there, homesteading wise. Lots of cool stuff. The pallet forks I got from them, and a bunch of other things. And so they also have a maple syrup pan. So we're going to check this thing out and see how well it works for us this year. So here's the pan. I've just sprayed it out, washed it out, so it's got some water sitting in it. But it comes with a warming tray, or a warming pan, I guess you could say. So you put your cold sap in here, and then I actually found a little filter I can add to this, and you just set this to a drip, so it just drips in the back corner here. Now this is actually advertised as a divided pan on their site. It's not a divided pan. This is merely in here for support, just to make the pan more rigid. But as you can see, it goes right underneath, so it's not dividing anything. Some maple syrup pans will have, a little more expensive pans, they'll have a divider that goes all the way to the bottom, and it separates the halfway, so it actually forces the sap to go like this, and it boils as it goes, and then when it gets to the back corner, it'll be highest sugar concentration. You can actually pull it off and it'll be finished syrup, or pretty close. So this does have a tap here, so we can draw off our concentrate. It does have a thermometer built right into the side of it, which is pretty neat. It's a little higher than I would like. It'd be nice if that was about 2 inches lower, because it'll probably just barely catch the top of the amount of sap that I'll have in here. I believe this will hold 35 gallons. So let's see how well this fits on the cinder block firebox that we already have built, and see if we can get some sap boiled today. hard.
No playing with lighters, Dad.
Well, this is pretty typical maple syrup season. It still gets dark pretty early in late February. It's dark out here, but we'll keep the fire going for a couple hours tonight, and we'll let it go out overnight. And this thing's working really good. The new pan is perfect, so the only thing that I think I need to do is I can add one more cinder block, or two stacked here, but one more this way, and run it long ways, and kind of close off the entrance to the firebox. So you can see the pan's overhang is a little long for my old firebox. So it's been running here for a little while. I went and grabbed some dinner and came back, and the fire was almost out, so we got it loaded back up. But it's burning pretty good. And I just have an old piece of drywall and some bricks that I found laying around out here. Tried to close off the front of this just a little bit. And if you narrow down the front, the air intake, you don't get as much smoke coming out the front. It draws the air in, and it kind of makes the air go a little faster, so it gets the fire going better. The warming pan is working really good, so you can feel the sap in here. It's not too hot to touch, but it's hot, and so that's perfect. So the idea with these is that you just have it kind of running in at a dribble. In fact, I might turn it down just a little bit. And this is just an RV screen filter. It's just a sediment filter, really. It's just going to keep the big things out. And if that gets clogged up, I can just unscrew it and clean it out. I just had one of these laying around, so that way, if you're dumping anything in here, bugs and all stuff like that, it'll get filtered out before it goes in the pan and boils. But the idea is that you want to add hot sap to the pan. Once this gets really boiling, it'll be a rolling boil. You don't just want to add a bunch of cold sap to this thing. You want to keep it going, because it'll kill your boil. And it takes a lot of energy to get the water to boil. Once it starts boiling, you keep it boiling, and you can evaporate this water off here real quick. So that's the goal. But even when it's not boiling, you can see there's lots of steam coming off here still. And so we're still getting rid of a lot of water even as it is. You can see how hot the chimney is. You can see the flame rolling right out there, out the top of that thing. These cinder blocks, they will crack. You can see the cracks here. This one's about to fall apart. And that's pretty normal, but for $1 a piece or $2 a piece, whatever they are these days, I can, what do I need? 5 of these things to make the chimney. I can knock these off and get some new ones. I may actually invest this year in a couple of pieces of actual chimney pipe, stove pipe, and make this the stove pipe or the chimney a little higher. The more draft you have, the better this thing's going to run. But it's running pretty good right now. I can't complain. Well, the next day, got some good boiling going, but we had kind of a catastrophe. This has only happened to me one other time, and it's so sad when this happens. It overboiled and turns into this hard, burnt sugar. I underestimated the efficiency of the pan, especially once the level of sap got down, about 2 inches. it was really boiling, and I had to leave. I had to leave for a few hours Thursday night. And when we came back, I ran out here to check. I really assumed I even had, I had the hopper full, and I had this thing running at a decent pace. So I figured, well, even if it gets, low, it'll still be dripping in fresh sap, and it should keep it, keep it going, and it won't overboil, and it sure did. So this thing got real hot, and it went through, it must have boiled through 25 gallons just in a few hours. So unfortunately, this is wrecked. So we got to wash the pan out now. I got to fill it with water. I'll boil again a couple times. It's a pain in the butt to get all that out. I'll have to clean it out with soap and water, clean the whole thing out, and then we'll start again. But as far as the cinder block evaporators, or the cement block, I should say, these aren't technically cinder blocks. This is, we've been using all these blocks for 2 years. This is the second year. And a lot of them have cracked. Obviously the chimney, this thing gets just glowing red hot and burning really good. And so it'll crack these blocks, but it's not a big deal because, like I said, you can just replace those. And this thing will work just fine. It's a very cheap, inexpensive way. And the Vivore sap pan worked great. So a couple things I'd change on it, but I don't really care about the thermometer anyway. It's a little bit too high, but everything else worked really good. The warming pan worked really well, and the pan itself seems to be well constructed. So, but we got a big snowstorm coming in tonight, so that means we're supposed to get 10 inches of snow. The sap probably won't run for a couple days. It looks like the weather's going to get a little colder, so we'll let this thing fill up with snow, I guess, and we'll have to clean it out in a couple days. Hopefully we get another good sap run here this week, and we'll load it back up and do it again. This time I'm staying out here with it. I've learned this lesson before. It's an amateur mistake. You never leave the sap pan, and I did. I had to. These mistakes, they cost me a lot of wood. Wasted a lot of wood boiling that, and it cost me a lot of time and sap. The sap was free, but it took me a while to haul it down there and check the thing and keep loading it with wood. So it's always another day to boil. So I guess that'll be it for this video. I'll take you guys along for the rest of the season, and we'll go through the whole process. We'll go from start to finish, collecting the sap, boiling it down to concentrate, taking it inside, finishing it, filtering it, and bottling it. So you guys can see the whole process that we do here at the new homestead. Very similar to what we've done for years, but little upgrades every year. So don't forget to hit thumbs up. Love to hear what you think. Comments down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.